In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve equations. So for this equation, what you want to remember is don't confuse Aunt Sally, my dear. So the first one is distributive property. And since we don't have parentheses, we do not have distributive property. The next thing you want to look at is combine like terms on the same side of the equation. So there are no like terms here. So the next thing that you want to do is undo any addition or subtraction. So we're trying to solve for D, so we need to get rid of the minus 26. So you're going to do the opposite, and you're going to add on both sides, and that will cancel out. And then you're left with 64. And then when you're doing the homework, I think you plug that back in to check it to make sure that it equals. And we know that 14 minus 6 is 8, and 5 minus 2 is 3. So that works out. All right, for the next one, we're going to do z over 7 equals 21. So you want to get rid of division here. You have divided by 7. So the inverse of division is multiplication. So you're going to times both sides. If you have a 7 on the top and a 7 on the bottom, they cancel. And you're left with z equals 147. And then you can just check it, plug it back into your original. And if you divide 7 into 14, you get 2, and 7 divided into 7 is 1. So that works out. Okay, the next one we're going to do, those were one-step equations. So now we're going to look at two-step equations. We have r divided by 5 plus 37 equals 83. Let me rewrite that. All right, so here, do we have distributive? We don't have parentheses. We don't have any like terms that we can combine that are on the same side. So we want to go down to step 3. On the side with the variable, do we have any addition or subtraction? We have addition, so do your inverse operation. Inverse of addition is subtraction. Okay, 13 minus 7 would be 6, and 7 minus 3 would be 4. Okay. Now we're going to do the inverse of, on the side of the variable, we have division, so we do the inverse and we multiply. And you end up with 230. Now you can, let's see, you could check that. You could plug in 230 over 5 plus 37 to see if it equals 83. 5 will divide into 23 46 times. So that checks out. Just make sure you're going down the list and always do distributive property first. All right, let's look at this one. C plus 5 equals 23 minus 2C. So on this one, we don't have distributive property. we do have like terms, but we need to get our like terms on the same side. So we're going to go down to addition and subtraction. We're going to move the minus 2c by adding. So we have our like terms on the same side. And then you want to look, you want to get your variables on the same side and then start working to isolate your variable. So you're going to subtract 5. And then you always do, division's always going to be last. And you could plug it back in to check it. All right, now let's look at some expressions and then try to write them out. So if you had 7 times x divided by t. So the way that you would write that would be, you would do 7x, and you could either do divided by t, or you could write it as 7x and use the fraction bar for division. Okay, another one would be and this is what you're going to do on the homework. So the way you could write that, there's several ways you could write it. Always put the number in the front. The order doesn't matter when you're multiplying, so it'll probably take it in different orders and it still be right as long as they're being multiplied. Okay, let's look at this one. A number increased by 14 is 26. So first it's going to ask you to underline the key words. So increase by means add, and is means equal. So a number, you're going to use a variable, plus 14, is means equal 26. And then you could solve it and you get x equals 12. Okay. Another one that I saw that you have to be careful on is if it says 3 times the sum of x and 60 equals 420. So on this one, you're trying to times the sum, so you're wanting to add first. But if you remember order of operations, you always multiply and divide before you add and subtract. So if you want to times the sum, if you want to say add first, you're going to have to put it in parentheses and put the 3 on the outside. So here, you're timesing 3 by the sum. You're saying add first, then multiply. Also, on the homework, if you don't put, if the x is capital, you have to use the capital X as the variable or it will count it off. All right, the last thing I want to look at is this. There's some word problems. Let's see if I can find the word problem. So, an online store sells 2 types of speaker docks for smartphones. The higher price speaker dock sells for $190. So our higher price is going to be X. So we're going to let X equal the higher price speakers. Okay. And then they sell for $109 and the lower price speakers sell for $80. Last week the store sold 3 times as many lower price speaker docks as higher. So your lower, you're going to sell 3 times as many. So 3x is going to be your lower price. And we said that the higher price sold for $190 and the lower price was $80 and we sold 3 times as many. And then it says that the combined total sales was $38.70. So the amount of higher price was $190 and $80 for the lower price. And we sold a total of $3,870. So we want to put equals $3,870. So if you add 190x and 240x, okay, then you're going to combine your like terms. So you always want to try to narrow this down. You want to file an order of operations, combine your like terms, and then the last step is going to be divide. And so x is going to equal 9. But 9 is the amount that we sold of higher price. And so if we plug in 9 here, that will show us that we sold 27 of the lower price speakers.